Go ahead.
Course, I'm excited. I feel like I finally have my voice back from being sick, and I'm excited to share and keep talking because that's something I really love doing. So I did shuffle the Soul Truth deck while we were sitting here, and a card jumped out, which is always a good omen to use that card. So the one that came up, am I letting fear stop me? On the back, it says, are you experiencing a mountain of fear right now? Are you stalling, freezing, or giving up? The juicy secret is that you are the boss of fear. You are unstoppable, but it's up to you to see that by taking action. Today's soul action. Today, be brave and do it scared. Choose one fear and move through it. If you're in need of a hero, become that hero, and that's who you will become. So that's a great one. Is that resonating with anybody at all right now? Fear stopping you some ways?
I can share. I shared a new class idea with Liz that I'm going to attempt on Thursday night. So I'm going to work through that and just go for it.
Cool. Then you'll have to share with us what it is.
When it's done. Yes, exactly.
Yes. Cool. So tonight, I really wanted to share with everybody what attraction marketing is. And for me, I love like the advertising, the marketing aspect. I don't know if you guys know this about me, but that was originally my plan when I left high school, was to go to business school for marketing. But really quickly, I realized I don't do well sitting at a computer inside of a room all day. And I felt like that was going to be my future if I stayed with that. So I ended up going on to massage school and all of that. But my heart does lie in marketing, and just, I find it fascinating. I can't help it. I love to consume, and I love that like psychology behind it of like what it is that makes me interested in purchasing something. And I've really in the last 5 years really become a conscious consumer. And I think that's where a lot of us are headed. And we get to pick brands and companies to work with that we want to support and that they have good morals, and maybe they take more steps to be better for the environment and all of that. And like those are important aspects to me as to why I buy something. And I think we're all here because we love doTERRA and the standards that they have. But attraction marketing gets to, and I'm going to get into that more in a minute of what exactly it is, but we're able to really promote ourselves and who we are as a brand. And we have the conduit of doTERRA to have that residual income too. So I'm excited to share all of that. But if you're anything like me, to do some of this work and to learn something new, like to just be in a really good headspace is good. We've all had a busy day. It's Monday. So I wanted to share with you an exercise to just get us in a good headspace. So has anybody ever tried tapping before, or emotional freedom technique where you tap on specific acupoints? Cool. I'm seeing some hands and head bobs. So I'm just going to really quick go through it. It's not too long. The one that we're going to do is to get us through some creative blocks. And just some context, tapping is designed to work with our acupoints that are on our face. There's one on our hand that we'll use and one under our armpit. So we use those acupoints while tapping on them and saying positive affirmations. And it's not just about the positive affirmations. You also kind of like acknowledge the problem. And the one I picked for tonight was like a creative block, because the attraction marketing is very tapping into our creative juices. So the first point that we'll tap on is the karate chop point, which is on our outside of our hand. And that's where we'll start. And then and you're just gonna lightly tap, and it doesn't matter which hand you use. And it doesn't really matter exactly where you are because you're close enough. And then we'll also tap on the inside of our eyebrow. You can see it better here. You can use like 1 or 2 fingers, whatever feels good, inside of your eyebrow, the outside of your eye, and you can switch your hands up, whatever feels better. Underneath your eye, underneath your nose, under your mouth, your collarbone, and then right under your armpit, in line with like where your nipple would be, but under your armpit. And then on the top of your head. So the tapping's pretty light. Maybe you have one of your favorite essential oils near you that you can rub into your hands quick or something like that. So I'm gonna pull up my screen for myself to see, but you guys can watch me. And if you're feeling compelled after I say it, you can also say it out loud. So we'll take a deep breath, got our oil on, and we'll start with that karate chop point. Taking full responsibility for my own well-being. As a child, I was more open to expressing whatever came through. Whether it was a drawing or a poem, it was fun to create and to share it too. We'll move to our eyebrow. But as I grew older in years, side of the eye, experience left its mark under the eye. A comment here or there, under our nose, a look there, your chin, a shake of the head or not, our collarbone. Somehow I began to feel under your arm that all of this business of art, top of our head, makes little sense for me. Back to our karate chop. I'm going to stop saying what I'm doing, so if you just want to watch. I learned to be practical, wise and worldly, it seemed. I nodded in agreement that one has to be rational and stick to the mainstream. Taking it to the extreme, I packed away all the joy, inspiration, and fun too. I blocked the creative juices, gave up on these childish pursuits. I cannot sustain a living doing what I find creative. It's for a chosen few. The passionate, carried away, unrealistic fools. At some point, I began to judge myself for missing that part of me. Here I was, growing up, moving up, and yet feeling this misery. It's time to cut the ties to that bind that keep me locked in this pragmatic grind. Today, I give myself freedom and allow myself to see that life is not about closing doors or limiting options and ways to be. I don't have to make this an either or an or choice. How about seeing the concurrent possibilities? What if I allow myself to be all that I am, not restricted to mind and thought, but in touch with a larger plan? What if I honor all that waits to emerge through me? Every bit of art, expression, and creativity. What if the joy and ease that comes from being this way comes not at a cost as I thought, but brings me gains instead? What if this is who I am meant to be? An instrument of inspiration, grace, and harmony. Oops. I free myself from all judgments of not being good enough or of being different or of being a misfit, impractical, deluded by my impulse. I honor the creator in me. I respect my abilities to flow, to allow newness and beauty to appear in all my work. I enjoy my life and living, letting my talent show. Carrying this enthusiasm and energy into all aspects of my life and growth, thereby inviting prosperity, the abundance that naturally follows, the path of excellence that authenticity draws forth. Bring your hands down, take a deep breath in, and let it go. And it's always a good idea to drink a ton of water after you do your tapping to get all of that energy flowing. So hope you guys enjoyed that and you were able to follow along. I love tapping because it brings up the issue, and it almost, as you're saying, like whatever the issue is, so like that one was having that creative block, as you say it out loud, you're like, you realize how silly it is. Like it's a mindset thing. So like I love that it just like brings it up like that. So I hope you guys enjoyed it too. I'm just checking the tab. I will share the script with you. All right, so I'm also going to share my screen with you. And I needed to do a PowerPoint because this is who I am as a person. I always think I'm not going to do a PowerPoint, and then I remind myself that I need to do it. Isn't there normally? Oh, there it is. There it is. Okay. So just by a show of hands or in the chat box, who's heard of attraction marketing before? Okay. So I had not heard of it really until recently. And when I even heard about it, it was just like mentioned in something else, you know, maybe like an ad that popped up on my Instagram or something like that. It really wasn't on my radar. And it was attracting to me though, because like I said, I love that marketing stuff. So I wanted to learn more about it. And Katrina and I are actually in a course right now where we're learning a bunch about it and how to use it to our advantage. So it's just great timing to share it with you all and see what resonates and just give you some ideas. And basically, attraction marketing is a strategy where customers are attracted to purchase something without being told to do so. You're not actually selling them the product. So again, like how we're going back to creating that brand for ourselves, and ultimately people can get doTERRA from anywhere. There is a reason why they pick to work with you. So this idea of bringing customers to you and why it's desirable for that product you're selling. So this reminds me of like being a product of the product, and you're just organically sharing what you're doing anyways and creating yourself a market that is going to not only be in love with what you're selling, but also they love following you. They love being a part of your life. And it doesn't necessarily even need to be something that's on social media. But I will say, like, a lot of what we're going to talk about tonight is geared towards social media, but this can apply to all aspects of how you share and market yourself. So you're just letting them see how good it is and the life that you're living and how great that is. And people are attracted to you and they want to know what your secrets are, why you feel so good, why you look so great, what are you doing? And ultimately, we've done this work before, but I feel like this attraction marketing is the next step, and that we have sat down, probably at this point, you've sat down and designed your ideal builder that you want to bring on for your team. So you've had that chance to get familiar with these types of activities that we're going to do. So ultimately, you want to describe your perfect customer. So I didn't say this, but you're going to want to get pen and paper out. We're going to be going and doing some of these exercises. So just take a minute. Hopefully now all of your creative juices are flowing, and describe your perfect customer. And I don't know about you guys, but my perfect customer is somebody who also is going to want to do this as a business. So just saying that. And you're going to want to get as specific as possible here. I know we want to help everybody, but you know when you have those people that you just are lit up to share with. And maybe you are the person who loves to break down the barriers and get people turned on to oils for the first time. Maybe you like working with groups of people who are already into a more natural lifestyle. So just take another minute or two and in as much detail as possible, explain your perfect customer. So what else are they into? What kind of activities are they doing during the week and on the weekends? What are their hobbies? Things that they're already interested in. Basically, like, where do you like to go and meet people too? Like, I think a lot of times of like the yoga classes I've been doing, I just really enjoy being around those people and look around the room and I see like, you know, these are people who are like me. Like we have that connection, right? What are they doing at noon on a Tuesday at a yoga class? Like what else is going on in their life? And then this ideal customer, what do they like? So what books are they reading? You can get super specific with this, like in a category or actual books that you would think your ideal customer has read. The podcasts that they're listening to and the shows or movies that they're into. And as I was going through and doing this, I realized I was describing myself a lot of this throughout. So I don't know if anybody else feels that way, but I think that is pretty normal, right? And we're all pretty awesome and like the stuff that we do. But it's not unheard of that you're going in a different direction as well. So for your ideal customer, write down what their job is or their career. What are your values like around education? Is there a certain level of education that you want your ideal customer to have? All right, so now hopefully you've kind of made that image. What are they struggling with? What are your ideal customers currently battling? And not only just at home, but in business, in their careers. You know, what is keeping them up at night? What are they worried about? Is it health? Is it finances? Is it burnout? Like, what do you think these people who are coming to you in need of essential oils, of supplements, like what is going on with them? What are their problems? And again, we want to think of like the ideal customer. So is it from an emotional standpoint, a physical standpoint? Maybe it's something else, you know, again, like just those relationship situations or home life, you know, where are their struggles? Something when I was doing this that I was thinking on my own end is like, where do I like to serve people the most? And for me, I just really enjoy helping people see that stress connection, that physical way that stress shows up, the emotional way that stress shows up. And we all know, like, right, that stress is bad for us, but so often people discredit that emotional or spiritual component that comes with stress. Maybe they're not able to show up in a way for themselves. And it's not just all about that physical aspect, but that's where I was thinking, you know, where can I be of service to people? And it just feels really good to help them through their struggles. Versus certain things that people might come to you and it feels draining when you work with them. So those are just some other things to consider, but hopefully this is giving you a bigger picture of who it is that you really enjoy working with, even through maybe the not so great things like struggles like this. So we're going to describe our perfect customer. How do they, so we're thinking of our customer, how do they want to be viewed by their family and friends? Who are they following online or they look up to? And I love this question. I ask it a lot of times to my students, like, what do you Google about in your spare time? And that's usually like where you can find where your passions lie. So what are your customers already Googling or YouTubing just for funsies? Or maybe they want more information on for their own reasons. And also, what do they really want in life? So just take a couple minutes to think about your perfect customer. So our goal here is to really understand our audience. So I hope that as we were going through these, you were writing the questions down. So if you want to go back through and spend more time with them, you can. But I thought now, just because we've been doing a lot of writing and working, that maybe somebody would like to share some of the things that they came up with, a couple of points that stick out to you the most that really make you feel like you have an understanding of who your perfect customer is, and are they like you or are they not? Like, I'm just curious to see where everybody's kind of at or who's feeling compelled to share things that came up.
Well, I'm apparently my perfect customer. So I just need to find a bunch of people that, no, to be quite honest, it was interesting because it really brought me to think about like when I look at what I wrote down versus what I actually am thinking that I want my perfect customer to be. So I found that quite interesting. Like what I just wrote down what like first came to mind, and I wrote that down. And then I'm like, wait, I'm looking at this. I'm like, what? This is just me. So,
but I love that, and it makes you realize like you're awesome and you want to work with you though, and there's other people out there like you. So I think that's really great. Thanks for sharing.
I want to share. I want to share for me what came up was it was easier to identify what I did not want to work with, and then it helped me to get clear on what I did want to work with. So I found that like, okay, what just thinking about like, okay, who does drain me was helpful to figure out what I did want to see. I don't know if anybody else had that experience as well.
Yeah, I think that's such a good point. Like it comes a lot of times instantly. We know what we don't want. So let's look at the opposite end of that. And when I started doing this myself, I was thinking, is this gonna pigeonhole me so I'm not approachable to maybe, I don't know, in my mind, I just keep thinking about the people in my community. I live in a small town and I just want to save them all. When I was a little kid, I always thought if I won the lottery, I was going to buy every building in Bridgewater and fix it up and make it the nice town that it deserves to be. So I know I'm bringing up some childhood stuff here that I want to save them all. But I'm like, am I going to not be approachable, right, to these my redneck neighbors and friends and family? Because I want to be too. But when, and I know Katrina said this before, when we're talking to everybody, nobody hears us. So this exercise and these activities really gave me permission to realize who it is I want to work with. And then I'm like, okay, I can focus on that. And the other people who are going to come anyways. But to me, it seems a lot more fun, a lot more easy, practical, authentic to work with that perfect customer that I described, which happened to be me. So did anybody have like a different experience or something else that came up for them?
I think for me, a lot of the similarities came out that were like things that are of similar interest to me, but also like me amplified, like the me I want to be, right? Like, because I feel like, I don't know. I used to market to like the me 6 years ago because I have shared experiences that they can benefit from. And I do think there's still some value to that. But kind of just me amplified now, I guess. I don't know.
I love that. It made me think of, have you heard of that TikTok challenge? It's like how to be that girl. And it's like you share your whole day in your life when you're doing all of the things, like you're waking up and drinking lemon water and then meditating and going to yoga and writing your to-do list down. I don't know. It's how to be that girl. That's just what that made me think of. So let's kind of take some action on all of this now that we have our ideal customer drawn out and put this to work. So I don't know if you guys know this, but I will be back on next week. So you do have homework for tonight to turn in next week with your citations and everything. No, I'm just kidding. So what you're gonna want to start to think about is like how you can brand this and put it together. So I help blank and blank to or with insert the solution to the problem without something they don't want. So I help entrepreneurs with, what was I gonna say? I help entrepreneurs with figuring out, I don't know where I'm going with this. I'm sorry. I had it all here and it just flew out of my ears. Helping entrepreneurs and women with up-leveling their lives without toxins and hard work through ancient healing techniques. That's just like the one that I've been playing around with for myself. But you can plug in who it is that you want to help and what it is that their problem is, and then something that they don't want. So just to kind of like start thinking about who the group is that you want to attract, what their problems are, and how you're going to be able to help them. This will do some more activities with next week, but I just wanted to introduce the idea of what attraction marketing is. And we'll get into it a little bit more, but where this is going is to offer the people that follow you online, maybe the customers that you already have, to continue to engage with them. And we're basically going to be giving them really high quality, great free content that you already offer, like things like educating about oils, taking care of yourselves, supplements, all the things that you are already doing, promoting, teaching about, but we can do it in a way that attracts to our target audience, and we can give them this really high quality, good, free education. So that way they are so excited to give you their money, to buy from you, because you've already helped them out and you're already speaking to them so clearly. And this person is on their way to being like on your level and wanting to know all of your secrets and what you're doing. So it's a way for us to give information, high quality, free information to those people who are going to listen and absorb that information. It's not, a lot of times we put out our hard work and effort in a class or sharing information or going live and things like that, and we don't get heard a lot of times. So the idea behind this is to already be talking to our ideal audience, and they're there and they're listening. And I look at it from like a really abundant place that those people are going to bring in their people, and it's just going to have that ripple effect versus, again, like just shouting to the masses and hoping that somebody can hear you among all of the clutter that is on social media and in our everyday life, versus when we actually feel like we're being heard on that level. So does anybody have any questions about anything that like has to do with this, or do you need any help clarifying how to fill in those blanks a little bit more? All right. So I hope that was helpful. I hope it was, at least like for me, I know it was really like a weight off my shoulders to look at it from the view of attracting my perfect customer versus just hoping that people hear me among the crowd. It just feels a lot lighter and easier. And that is where I'm headed and going this year.
Yeah, I agree. I think for me, it was freeing to identify who it was that I was speaking to, because oftentimes, like one of the things that I put for myself was to be more vocal and authentic on social media. And one of the things that often shows up for me is a fear of judgment from people that aren't in my tribe. And so without having those words, I was able to like look into, okay, why do I care so much? Because those aren't the people that I want to attract anyways. And so it just made that not feel as heavy. I don't know if that resonates, but also while I'm unmuted, I just uploaded that worksheet to the Facebook page. That way, if you didn't jot down the questions, they're in a upload in there.
Nice.
That was awesome. Thanks, Britt.
Yeah. I just felt like it did give me that permission to just find my community. And so many of the accounts that I follow or the podcasts that I listen to that I really love, you know, they're like a little bit out there and they are just talking to me, because I don't think I could play it at, you know, one of my get-togethers with like my girlfriends from high school or at a family function, you know, and that's okay. But that's just what gets to me. And so with that being said, like the future of where we're going with this is not only to just make really high quality content that your audience is going to love and speak to them, but also that community that comes with it, because these are your people and that is your tribe. So I'm excited for what's to come in that sense of it, of like, I think the people that you attract with this are here to stay. Like they are your people. So with that being said, good luck filling in your blanks. And I think like, you know, even if throughout the week, if you have like questions or things that come up with it, or maybe you feel a little stuck or you want to run your ideas by other people, maybe reach out to people that were on this call tonight, to any of us, or put it in our Facebook group or in the messenger, just if you wanted some feedback somewhere. So I think that'd be fun to kind of keep it going throughout the week. So thanks everybody for tuning in. Thanks for tapping with me like the little weirdos that we all are.
I really enjoyed the tapping, and that scripture was really cool too. Can you share that with us in the Facebook group or something? Okay.
Yeah, I will. I'll send everybody the script.
Cool. Thanks, Britt. Good night, everyone.